with another episode of AI GTM Talks, and we're excited to kick off episode 22. So it's been a few weeks, and as you all know, we kicked off the series of talks. We bring in really good, awesome AI GTM tech founders. We also bring in revenue leaders, practitioners who can enlighten us, who can help us understand this crazy transformation that seems to be going on now as AI is coming in and completely changing go-to-market as we know it. So for today's episode, we have with us Noah Jacobs of Bird Dog. Noah, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. And 22
Yeah,
episodes in a few weeks, man. We're almost half a year in now. This is really cool.
yeah. So Noah, I mean, I think first up, Bird Dog, I can see you guys talk about giving sales teams the right data at the right time.
Spot on.
But I do want to get into that. I know we have a lot to cover.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like, what's the origin story of Bird Dog? How did that come about?
The name itself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there's this thing. Jack and I spent a lot of time, my co-founder and I spent a lot of time getting this right. The other names we were going to do were Boondocker or maybe Fractal Intel. It was all over the place, but we settled on Bird Dog because it passes the bar test. And the bar test is just this simple rule where the name, if you said it to somebody in a loud bar, could they say it back to you right? And could they spell it if they had to spell it later? So Bird
Gotcha.
Dog passes that very easily. And also it's fun because bird dogs help you hunt, and we're helping sales teams hunt as well.
Awesome. I think you
Yeah.
guys gave it some thought and come up with a really good one. So why don't we kick it off first, Noah? If you can tell us, what do you all do at Bird Dog? And why don't we just start there?
Yeah, well, we help sales teams find the right data at the right time. And what this means is we really work with the sales teams to come up with these custom signals that are very specific to what they're doing. And we look across their entire account list and even companies not on their account list to find those signals and actually monitor for them later so they never miss it. This is like highly variable based on what they're actually selling. So maybe if you're selling softwares into factories, you care about recalls or opening new factories. Whereas if you're selling a sales tool to sales teams that prospect, you simply care about whether or not they actually prospect. Are they hiring for positions that require prospecting? So it's really customizable and is focused on what they actually care about as a sales team.
Got it. But is it really trying to find interesting signals and information that's associated to the account, to the company or the target company or organization?
Correct. Yeah, correct. So it's really based off the accounts they're selling into and finding new accounts they could be selling into with those strong signals.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then who are you all targeting with your product, your tech, your solution? Looks like, I mean, if I can sum it up, seems like in some ways more niche, deeper account intelligence than what they may find with some of the more traditional data tools. Is that fair?
Yeah, 100%. And the commonality in teams that want something like that is they're typically going to have a higher contract value. So like $30,000 is usually the floor for who's going to work with us. So they have a higher contract value, more complex sales. The data matters throughout the entire sales cycle, like over 3 months sometimes even some of our clients. I think the longest sales cycle of our clients is at about 12 months. So these sellers who are really doing complex sales need this data throughout the entire cycle to stay up to date on what's happening with those significant contracts.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let me then ask a follow-up question. So who are you guys targeting? Because the market is big. There's a lot of different, SMB, mid-market, enterprise, or different industries, or different personas. Yeah, if you can talk about that.
Yeah. So our clients, we do work with some smaller startups. We also work with some middle market companies, and we actually just are doing a 3-month POC right now with a large cap publicly traded company. So we're really in the process of moving up market and working with these bigger companies, but we still do service smaller companies as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then can you let's get into a little bit around this, which is who are when people are looking at your data and looking
Yeah.
at your deeper account intelligence and so on, are there others that they're also looking at and considering, and how are they kind of sorting through
Sure.
The myriad choices out there.
Yeah. So a lot of the times they'll come to us thinking that we have something like intent data, which we
Hmm.
don't have intent data at all. So I
Okay.
know a lot of your stuff is first party intent, and we don't do any of that on our end, and we don't do third party intent either. So they
Hmm.
come to us maybe thinking that, but then they start to see the data and they do realize that if they were to recreate it anywhere, they would probably have to go to Clay to
Hmm.
recreate it, but the
Hmm.
cost gradient for what we're doing and the granularity out of the box is much more palatable for a sales director or a VP of sales who wants to enable his whole team with this and
Hmm.
really consolidate an understanding and definition of their ICP in one place
Hmm.
with a reasonable cost and also supporting the entire team.
Got it. So
Yeah.
Noah, why don't we do this? Maybe you can. Why don't we kick it off with a little bit of a demo? If you can
Yeah.
show some use cases, examples of where you are able to pull some very niche, right, account
Sure.
intelligence that might be harder to do, as you said, with Clay and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me share my screen.
Mhm.
And the heart of Bird Dog for all of our users is going to be this table right here of signals.
Mm.
So what I'm showing you right now is some information about sales teams. These are questions we're asking about all of the prospects you could be selling into, your entire account list. So in this example, we're asking about hire and promoting a sales leader or funding rounds, or do the salespeople prospect? Do they have full cycle account executives? Are they hiring for salespeople still? And all of this information really represents a definition of somebody's ICP. This is an example with sales teams, but we also have examples with, say, people who sell specifically to organizations with value selling practices,
Mm.
or data center companies that sell specifically to organizations training foundation models or fine tuning their own models. So it can
Got it.
get very specific and granular, or even maybe robotics companies, or another one is hotels that have invested in robots in the past or are hiring for helper staff so the robot can replace that. So it's really niche and customizable, and this is the driver. And once you nail this for your organization, you can have multiple. If you're selling into different verticals, you can have multiple of these lists. But once you nail this, then the data starts flowing in everywhere. So we have this in the platform over here with Cohere as an example. For any of those signals that we put in, we can see specifically where this information came from. So we know that Cohere has full cycle account executives due to some job postings where they talked about it. So you can trace it back, and no matter how granular the signal is, I was showing somebody job postings with COBOL yesterday. So
Oh
it can
wow.
be, yeah, so it can be very specific, COBOL and mainframes. So it can be
Mm.
very specific here. And you have this data on this platform that helps you rank the accounts with those signals, give you a powerful summary of what's been going on there. But then also it starts to pump this information everywhere else. So over in this Salesforce instance, I have a dummy account here for Workday, and we have the Bird Dog score and a link to it on the platform, as well as that summary right here and some of the most recent signals. And on top of that, I'm going to swap my screen share to Slack because a really powerful thing for us is those signals, those questions we asked, maybe one of them's important when it happens, like a new factory opening, or even better yet, an executive quote around wanting to invest in AI over the next 2 months or 2 years or whatever it is. You get
Mhm.
those signals real time in the Slack channel. So these signals that we defined in that one place are now populating everywhere else, whether it's in Slack or Teams in your CRM. And this Slack bit is really cool because a lot of the times we'll have the sales reps, maybe the AEs, maybe leadership in here, looking at these alerts as they come in. Like here we have an update on SoFi's revenue targets or specific coding languages a firm is now using. So you can go through and you see the leaders start to tag their reps and say, we need to be actioning this, or given some other context about their deals, say, let's do something with this now. Why haven't we actioned it? For one company we're working with that's interested in buyer experience, a very specific signal. They want to know, do these companies that we sell to, do they talk about buyer experience, we found an alert where the CEO was talking in a press release about the buyer experience for the M&A. Is they bought a firm, and in the press release for that M&A, the CEO said, we bought this firm specifically to improve our buyer experience. So
Got it.
that's really powerful.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
there's some questions coming in from the audience. So I'm going to start, asking some of this.
sure.
Do you guys have any kind of a free trial offering around this, or is it people pretty much have to sign up
They have
for a
to
paid
sign up
plan?
for paid, but we always show a sample of the data
Mhm.
before they do. So
Got it.
our sales process actually involves working with the prospect, with the client, to figure out what signals they care about, and then
Mhm.
demonstrating the data we can find on their actual accounts so they know what
Got
they're
it.
buying.
Got it. Now, you mentioned that you have this data, it's sitting in your app, and then you're able to write it to Slack, you're writing it to, CRM,
Yeah.
Salesforce. Are there any other CRMs you support, or is it really Salesforce CRM at this point?
HubSpot, we support HubSpot too. Yeah.
Got it.
We-
And then how about, are you also able to write the data out into like a Clay, or like into using
yeah.
webhooks, into other applications? You do that
Yep.
too?
We have an API.
Got it.
Yeah.
Um, is that a webhook style thing? You set up a webhook and you can write the data?
Yeah, so we push webhooks in the morning when we send the alerts with Slack. So it gets pushed, and you can also pull as well.
Got it.
We've
Push
seen
and
a
pull
couple
webhooks.
different selling patterns. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, and then you showed a bunch of signals. I mean, how many of these signals can a typical customer set up? I'm
Mm.
sure you have. Is it you have some kind of packages saying you get so many signals if you for a particular license, or how does that work?
So actually, we give everybody 25 signals, up to 25 signals. That's really a soft limit. That's more or less our recommendation for how many you don't want to exceed. Because if you
Got it.
have 50 signals, it might get a little overwhelming. So
Yeah.
most of the time we see our customers have between 15 and 20 signals. Some of them
Got
on
it.
the lower end might have only like 5 if they have very, very small specific things they're interested in. But on average, it's like 15 to 20.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some interesting integrations or workflows people have set up
Oh,
around
yeah.
these signals? I mean, besides the usual ones I can think of, right? Writing
Sure.
from your app into Clay, or writing from your
Right.
app into CRM. Uh, what other ways are they using this? Are they using it with any of the workflow tools? Like an N8N or Make, any of
Hmm.
those?
Yeah, we actually just had somebody set up something where one of the very powerful features of our platform is it suggests accounts for you as well. So this is
Hmm.
called Farsight. It uses your signals and your accounts to go out and find lookalike accounts and new accounts. So we've
Hmm.
had somebody set up a workflow using a little bit of code and our API so that every morning it sends the salesperson a couple suggestions of here are some new accounts. Farsight found, you should go hit them up. We also just built one out ourselves that integrates with a calendar. So on a Tuesday, it'll tell you about the accounts you're meeting with on Wednesday. So it looks at who you're meeting with tomorrow, and it tells you in advance. And
And so, can you talk about how your solution is going to work for a small sales team with maybe,
sure.
three sellers versus a
Oh,
large
yeah.
sales team, like 10, 15, 20 sellers? How does that scale?
Yeah. So with 10, 15, 20 sellers, one of the big value props that we bring to the table is that the leadership and some of the best reps on the team can help build this list of signals. And then it's an asset that scales that research across the entire team. So now
Hmm.
you don't have to worry about all of the sellers figuring out what they should be selling on. You can consolidate it and push it across the entire team. And then on the other end of it, for smaller sales teams, we have some solo sellers using it as well.
Right.
What they like about it is, if they have an account list of 300, there's no way that they're going to be able to keep up on the most important signals for those 300 accounts.
Hmm.
So it really helps put the prioritization a bit more on autopilot so they can see on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning if any critical events have happened, and then use that to help guide their actioning of that information and their prioritization.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. It's interesting you mentioned, account scoring, ranking,
Sure.
prioritization. I mean, that's been one of the key challenges for GTM teams in general,
Mm.
right? I mean, being able to
Yeah.
do first at the company level, and then to be able to do at the prospect, right, or individual level,
Sure.
knowing, how to rank order. And as you mentioned, there's a whole bunch of other signal tools. I mean, full disclosure, we are one of them.
Yes, of
And,
course, of course.
doing the person level stuff, on the
Yep.
website and off the website, and we have
Yeah,
topics of interest. We pull all these person level signals in. We write to Slack. So one of the things, Noah, as we talk here, right? I'm just thinking, just imagine the power of putting the person level signal that we have,
totally.
the account level, very deep niche signal that you guys have, put it
Yeah.
together. I mean, this is powerful stuff, right? All in all.
It really is. It really is. And we don't do the person level stuff because we focus on getting something you and I have been talking about is we're a specialist. We're very
Right.
focused on these custom signals for
Yeah.
these account lists. So we don't even touch the people data stuff. We've dabbled in it, but we've gotten rid of it more or less. Some of our users have legacy access to it, but we've more or less stopped doing that just because guys like you already have a specialist solution for it that's a lot more in depth, and we don't want to fight with that. We want to stay in our lane around getting really good at the account stuff, and then they can build out a stack with something like what you are doing to get more of that people level info. And we do have some guidance there because we grab quotes from executives, and a lot of the times that will help them point out parts of the organization to focus on. But at the end of the day, to get that contact data to figure out who's actually on their website, we're not the team for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know before we got into this session, you and I were talking about this whole signal-based tech space, right? And how it
Yeah,
seems to be. I mean, I see it where some guys are trying to be what I call signal aggregators. They're trying to
yeah,
bring together every freaking signal you can think of,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you've got your signal specialists, right? I mean,
yeah,
yeah, candidly, yeah, we're not trying to be the massive aggregators. We're trying to be, okay,
yeah,
if we put out offer even 4 signals, we want those to be best in class, high quality
totally.
signals
Yeah,
that people can count on, can rely on, and they can invest in. And then they know that, okay, they ain't going to get anything better out there. And sounds like you guys are trying to do something similar with your account signals.
yeah, 100%. And kind of circling back to your question about the way it's been integrated, one of our clients has their own proprietary platform and they pull our data in and they mix it a bit with what the current reality is. Like, where are they in the sales process with this prospect? Do they already have some sort of MRR relationship? Do they already have a monetized relationship? So,
Mm.
to your point, everybody has a little bit of a different way they do it, but we're trying to provide the best we can about these signals that we have, and then they can go and integrate it into their system and really nail it from there.
Got it. Got it. I want to ask you this because I'm curious. Um, there seems to be, a tussle. I'm going to call it a bit of a tussle in the market, right?
Yeah,
Between where people are going to house all these signals,
yeah,
meaning where do these signals live, right? Are they going to live in the CRM, like a
mm,
Salesforce? Are they going to live outside of the CRM, like in a CDP, or
yeah,
CDP like some
sure,
tool?
sure, sure, sure.
Do you have a viewpoint on that? Like, where do you think things are going?
I think it's really hard to say. What I will say is one of the reasons we're so flexible about where our data can go there's two reasons. For one, current state of the market simply is people are using this in different ways.
Yeah,
Some people, I've met teams that operate out of Slack. I've met teams where almost all of their stuff goes into Slack. I've met
yeah,
other teams where the CRM is still the bastion of all that information and it's going together. Some teams use Clay as the central database. So it's
yeah.
all of that is to say right now it's very frothy, and
Mm,
our position from a business management perspective, managing our own risk, is we don't want to fight for that. We don't want to fight to make Bird Dog the place you go. We want to make sure that Bird Dog, whatever the teams are already doing, it can integrate seamlessly into what they're doing
mm,
and provide that data. Because at
mm,
least for us, if I was a betting man, I would
mm.
still probably lean towards a CRM being the core piece of these stacks in the next couple of years. But as a business owner and a risk manager, we're agnostic to it.
Mm. No, that's interesting you say that, because one of the things we've been noodling on and we've been thinking about
Yeah.
is call it the modern GTM AI GTM tech stack of
Sure.
2026, right? And I mean, it's still early days. I completely agree with you. So we'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see, right? But we see conceptually people thinking about a signals hub. Here's where all the signals come together, right?
Sure. Yeah.
and where you can build these signal-based segments. Here's a segment I want to go and run campaigns against, put outbound messages, email, LinkedIn, phone call, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
And then there is the what I call the orchestration hub.
Yeah.
Orchestrations where you're going to put all the business rules, the logic, and so on and so forth. And then you still need a content engine because you got to
Mhm.
repurpose content, you got to put it out there, you got to do whatever, right? But yeah, no, but that's it's interesting. Now, let's get back to Bird Dog and some of the very valuable account signal data you guys are delivering.
Yeah.
Um, but are there any? How do customers kind of evaluate us as value? Like when they look at your data, they say, "Hey, this one really helped me get build more pipeline, close a customer, get a deal." Can you
Yeah.
give us some value kind of conversations you've had and people saying, "Yep,
Certainly. Yeah.
yeah,
So sometimes there are these moments where they do one thing and it pays for the subscription for the next, I'm not going to say year, for the next few years,
yeah,
where we had one client use a signal, a very specific signal in an upsell with a Fortune 500 client of theirs. And
yeah."
that signal, because they were able to bring it into the conversation, added 6 figures to the expansion conversation, which pays for Bird Dog quite handsomely. On the other end of it, there's smaller moments like that where we've had reps get a signal like a bank executive saying, we're focused, think regional banks, we're focused on customer success over the next 2 years, and we're doing this initiative. Cold calling that bank, talking to somebody and saying, bringing up that initiative, naming it, and the bank saying, the person on the other end saying, how the hell do you know about this? This happened yesterday. So there are, and then booking an SQL. So there are some of these like very specific instances, but beyond that, taking a step back from that, the simpler question is our pricing comes out to about $1 per account per month.
Oh
So
wow.
the question really just becomes, would you pay $1 per account per month to not miss something important? And for a lot of these teams, that's a hell of an insurance policy and a hell of a value prop.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
curious, how does that compare to Clay? Like, what would it cost in Clay to do 25 signals?
Oh my
Say I
God.
had a thousand accounts. What am I looking at? I mean, with you guys, it looks like it's $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah,
What am I
for
spending
us
there?
it would, yeah, for us it would be $1,000 a month. For them, we've done some tests. We actually had a Clay go-to-market engineer do a test for us, and his estimate, if I remember correctly, was on 200 accounts with 10 signals, it was going to be like $8,500 per month for 200 accounts. So just an orders of magnitude different. It's like, and that was not with as much as we had. And it's just, we've engineered it a different way. Like, if you want to set up an orchestrated outbound campaign, you should go use Clay. You should not be using Bird Dog for that. Like, they're two very different tools. Nothing against Clay. It's got great stuff for great reasons, but ours is very focused on making sure you really know what's going on with these accounts at all times and getting
Yeah.
really granular about it. It's a very different value prop.
No, no, I'm with you. I'm with you
Yeah.
because I think each of these tools has, their strengths and use cases where they serve the purpose and they are
Mhm.
cost effective. And so, even when we work with our customers, we tell them to be careful on where
Yeah,
they put the budget, put the money to work, and
totally.
for example, like we at Quanzu, we say, hey, you want person level website signal on who's visiting, first party signal, we're very comparable, high quality, high scale versus an RB2B and some of the other
Sure.
guys, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
then if you look at offsite person level intent, again, I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, right now they're one of the few games in town, so we're
yeah,
getting quite a bit of interest there with, and this new thing called CRM contact monitoring, where at a person
yeah,
level we're able to keep track of buying signals at a person level all across the web. Um, but I can understand from the customer's point of view, this is a freaking they have to keep track of all this
oh my God.
innovation coming at them with us doing a few things, you guys doing a few other
Yeah,
things, and then there's play out there, and knowing who to use for what is one of the key challenges, and which is why we're doing this talk series here, right? Which
yeah,
hopefully is helping them understand. But I think my big takeaway, Noah, talking to you,
Yeah,
is if anybody is trying to just build and capture and monitor and keep up niche account level signals at a fixed monthly cost, like $1 per account per month, you guys are the guys to go to, right?
yeah, certainly.
I mean, that's going to help a lot of RevOps people and
Yeah.
demand gen leaders, growth leaders, sales leaders,
Mhm.
to learn that. Okay, let's keep going. So my next question was is if you just take a step back, I mean, how do
Yeah,
you see the different kinds of AI tools in and around where you guys fit in, we fit in? How are
sure.
you seeing things? The typical stack where you're going and plugging in. I think we've touched upon a bunch of these tools.
Yeah.
Um, are there any other types of tools you're starting to see at all? What about the AI SDR tools,
Mm.
the message personalization tools? Is
Sure.
your data being consumed in any way for those use cases, not just intelligence for the rep? Are you seeing that?
Sure. We have a couple clients who do use us for outbound campaigns, and they
Okay.
do it. Again, if you're trying to email like 10,000 people, you should not use us for it. But a couple who are like, listen, I've got Fortune 500, that's all I can hit up, and they're doing email campaigns there, then they might invest in us for that. But generally speaking, I mean, I think the thing with AI SDRs or any of these other sequencing tools, it's kind of like an evolution of the email outbound. The way I think about it is that, and I posted about this morning briefly, but the way I really think about it is that email outbound is simply getting more capital intensive. And a lot of these tools help you overcome the new barriers that are being put in place. So if you want to do email outbound, there's a lot of tools out there that can help you do that. And it's just the cost of doing email outbound. It's not 2020. You can't just send from your primary inbox and get responses. Now there's these tools are cropping up for a reason because email outbound is still valuable when you have that infrastructure and you do it right. And you're able to do it with some level of personalization at scale or whatever it is. It's just you have to be careful not to do marketing and actually do the sales level of personalization. So that's kind of, I hope that answers your question a little bit about where I see that crop of tools where it's hard to get that right on your own, which makes sense as to why there's so many tools coming up in there to make sure that you do nail that outbound part. Because if you want to do an email outbound campaign, it's becoming increasingly capital intensive.
Got it. Got it. Um, and from what you showed in the demo, those
Yeah.
25 signals, they can literally craft us. It's almost like, is it an AI query that I can literally type, say, I want this kind of signal?
Yeah,
You,
yeah. So we really spend the first couple weeks with all of our clients, working really closely with them to get just the
mm,
perfect signals, and we'll
got
go
it.
through multiple iterations to get it right. We don't have an AI engine building out the queries for us. We work with them to build it out because we think that that level of it's almost consulting at the start of all of our engagements because that
I
level of
see.
personalization is like very, very important to get right. We've tried using AI to do it, and usually it just misses some of the nuance that we pick up in a 30-minute discovery call, plus two follow-up 30-minute calls to look over everything, mute the right one, mute the wrong ones, add in the right ones, and really iterate on it, but they are customizable in the sense that they can put in almost whatever they want, whether it
And
be
what is where does your pricing start? I mean, it looks like you put a bunch
yeah.
of work into getting a new client on board. So I'm curious, like, what's your starting price point?
For that reason, we do have a $500 a month minimum, and
Got it.
that's been going up over that's on an upward trend is what I would say.
That's still really, really compelling, man. That's really
It is.
fair.
It
Yeah.
is, especially if you
I
want
think,
to keep track of 500 accounts, even you want to keep track of 100 accounts. If those are all the accounts you can sell to, that's an
yeah,
incredible price for that to stay up to date on
yeah.
those 100 copies. Are very valuable accounts for you.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Are you planning to keep? I mean, yeah. Let's talk about your own go-to-market. Are you guys? What's your stack look like? How are you selling? How are you reaching prospects? What are your? What's working for you? What's not? Yeah.
Really organic. We do a lot of LinkedIn content and we get a lot of hits on that. And then people book meetings that way. And that's been very, very helpful for us doing that. That's
Okay.
been super impactful. We don't have to do our own outbound. We're very grateful for that just because we get enough inbound. And we're also starting to get some more referrals which is also very good, and expanding in existing clients too. So we're really focused on maximizing the value of the network that we do have and making sure that we're delivering as much value to them as we can. Uh, we fear the day when we have to dip our toes into the outbound, because we know, as I was saying, we know how capital intensive that can be.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
And then let's so that's how your GTM was working. Looked like a lot of word of mouth referrals and so on.
Yeah.
And then what about just any other learnings in terms of as you continue to build your business? You said you might get into outbound, but later, right?
Yeah.
It's not something you're looking at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing I would say there, like advice for founders or even just small teams, is do what's working. You don't have to go do outbound if you're getting inbound, or if you're killing outbound, you don't have to go build content. So it's like, especially early stage, just focusing
Yeah,
on whatever's working and continuing to reinvest into that seems to be a much better strategy than trying to do everything.
got it. And are you primarily just selling direct, or do you also are selling into say agencies, marketing agencies, GTM agencies?
We're announcing a partnership with a go-to-market agency tomorrow, actually, I think. So
Okay.
we're starting to do some of that, do some of the agency-led partnerships. It's largely been direct, but we do have some we work with.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that seems to be the trend for us, I guess, similar to you,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Let's call it the specialist is to find
yeah.
agency partners, because we
Help.
just got going with an agency partner ourselves in the last week or
Okay.
so. And they are kind of white labeling our intent,
Yeah,
right? Person level, company level intent as an intent package that they're
sure.
taking into the market.
I like
So,
that. Yeah. So we're
yeah.
very open to that too. We think there's good leverage there.
Yeah, for sure. So now I wanted to ask you, just looking ahead, right? I mean, what do
Mhm.
you think are going to be key challenges? I mean, what are you
Mm.
seeing as key challenges for adoption? If you go into
Mm.
an SMB customer, mid-market customer,
Yeah.
what is getting in the way of people consuming more of signal data, whether it's us, yours, whatever, in the market? What do you see happening?
Yeah. I mean, for us, our biggest learning has been to not over index on our own platform and
Hmm.
making sure that we're actually getting it into where they already are, because
Hmm.
so many, that's one of the biggest challenges, is so many people are fighting for attention,
Hmm.
and your ROI narrative is a lot harder to justify when they have to go to your platform. So that's why
Right.
we're even telling people in sales conversations now, we're telling directors and VPs, listen, like maybe two of your reps have to go into this at the start, but we seriously do have teams who don't go into the platform other than to adjust the signals. So the data is there if they need it, but the real hurdle to overcome is, how do you get it into their workflow? How do you put it where they already are? And that challenge is compounded by the fact that everybody does something a little bit differently. So
Hmm.
it's not a trivial thing to figure out, and we've invested a lot of effort. Like the two levers for us in terms of product adoption: keep improving the quality of the signals and keep making it easier for them to get value from those signals. So for
Hmm.
us, those are the two big things there.
Oh man, it's so similar to our story. I mean,
Yeah,
same thing,
right.
right? The app we built, we typically see just the demand gen. Was one person from either growth or
Yep,
demand gen going in, looking at all the warm leads and offset
totally.
intent leads and doing the configuration and do all that stuff. And then we keep writing the data out. It's
Yep.
written to CRM,
Spot on.
written to
Yeah,
marketing automation, written to Clay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think looks like a similar story for you guys. Okay, makes sense.
Very similar story. Yeah.
Um, Now, what are there any? Let's talk about AI. There's a lot of hype around AI, right? A lot of people thinking they can do a lot of different things with AI.
Yeah.
Do you have any observations, comments, commentary about the current state of AI in any of these kinds of signal-based tech tools, marketing, sales tools? What's your take?
Yeah, we're an anti-AI AI company is the way I put it. And the only reason I'm saying that, you can go to our website, we barely talk about AI. The reason for that is because we really don't want to sell our tool on AI. We want to sell it on the merits of the tool. So my commentary, my yeah, my strict commentary, I won't go to, I could go on a rant about this, but I'll keep it very succinct, is do not buy a tool just because it says AI. Buy a tool because it's useful for you. Buy a tool because it's going to solve one of your business challenges, or it will create value and there will be ROI, not because you have some initiative that says we need to adopt AI internally. Be very cautious about doing that is all I would say.
Yeah, I think more people need to hear that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's so much, call it, people who've been in the marketing and sales world for years who are suddenly trying to, let's just call it, trying to quote, stay relevant, or they think they need to do AI to stay
You don't.
relevant.
Yeah.
The reality is you have so much domain knowledge and expertise, and
Yes.
AI is just another way
Yeah.
to get some things done,
Yeah.
and I think part of it is the whole venture world has hyped up this agentic and agents and this and
Yeah.
that, and a lot of it is still early days. That there's merit there, but
Yes.
it's not something you can operationalize yet. A lot of
Yeah.
it.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah. Okay. So now, what do you see as are there any misconceptions? I think you maybe touched upon this, right? Around what AI can or cannot do. Let's talk about where AI. If you have anything to say about where AI is working, right?
Yes.
In go to market, are there areas within go to market that it is working? I'm curious, for example, around, are you guys doing anything around SEO and the so-called generative engine optimization and LLM driven SEO? Any of that stuff, or are there any other
We
related areas where you see AI potentially could be useful?
so we haven't done that personally yet,
Hmm.
but I have heard of people doing that and that working well, and them actually getting inbound from ChatGPT or from any of the other tools. So I have
Right.
heard good things about the LLM optimization. Uh, Another thing that I think is cool, we haven't invested in this ourselves internally yet, just because we're a small team and it's easy to handle ourselves. But I do like the notion of AI note takers directly updating CRM to reduce friction there. That's pretty interesting to me.
Hmm.
Again, I can't speak to any of the tools in the market, but I do think that's an interesting direction. Uh, I think that's big. I also, and we, yeah, I think those are the big ones. If we're talking about the positive ones, I think those are quite interesting to me.
Got it.
Yeah,
And then just a couple more questions, then we'll start the wrap up.
sure,
Where do you see the future of AI in go to market? Just looking ahead to like 6, 12, 24 months, and
sure.
what does your company's roadmap look like? Just looking ahead.
Yeah, totally. So one of the big things that we're super excited about is the actual getting marketing and sales on the same page. We think
Hmm.
that's a really good opportunity here. Because the classic problem of an MQL is not a SQL. So how do we get the MQLs to be SQLs? I think with what we're seeing with some of our clients is we're already expanding towards marketing and helping them generate these account lists that they're looking at. That's
Hmm.
becoming a very interesting value prop for us because you can at scale start to get, and this is another good place for AI is research, the research function, because you
Hmm.
can't, which is a function that's almost been jettisoned in some sales teams. So it's almost like a resurgence of AI powered research. So you can get this level of granularity that the sales team needs. You can start to get that at the scale that marketing can use.
Hmm.
That's super interesting to us. I think that's a compelling use case for Clay too, is
Okay.
where you can see that like actually get the granularity. Because if you have a really good account list, marketing and sales are easier. So
Hmm.
actually using AI powered research to build out a strong account list and unify those two functions is a super compelling thing here that we're very excited about in our own product. And I don't think it's a secret. I think not a lot of people are talking about it, but I do think other people are seeing this together, seeing this bit together as well, where it's if you have a good account list, the pitch writes itself.
I really like this one, by the way, Noah, because
Yeah.
even we have built something we call an AI playmaker, and the AI
Okay.
playmaker lets you build both account segments and contact segments. And the contact
Yeah.
segments we do using signal based, right?
Amazing.
Uh,
Yeah.
Show me people who showed up in the last 7 days on my website who are from companies with 100 million revenue and up, who went to the demo page and the pricing page,
Totally.
and then
Yes.
boom, it spits out a list. So I think there's a lot of power there. If we can, and then obviously, we'll figure out how to plug the two together so you can do more interesting things.
Certainly.
I
Yeah.
have a couple of related questions, just talking roadmap.
Yeah.
You guys do anything with account hierarchies today? I'm talking Nestle in the US, Nestle in the UK, all these kind of larger
Mm.
enterprise companies with multiple subsidiaries and divisions and so on. Is that something you tackle or not yet?
Right now, we go based off of units. So we do have some subsidiaries that we track as if they were independent companies, but that's
Yeah,
100% on our roadmap is making sure that we really nail that relationship.
yeah.
And actually double tapping on that, something we have seen is one of our clients got an alert about a prospect acquiring one of their clients, which when you know that information is just a beautiful upsell opportunity because now you can go hit up the prospect, say, hey, we're already in this client. Let's make sure that we roll this out to your team. So
Yeah.
I think those hierarchies in the acquisition space is super.
Mm,
I think it's hard to model right, but I think the more you can get it right, the more value there is there. So we're pretty nascent in terms of nailing that part. We're giving people value there incidentally, which is amazing. But like getting a really great granular model of this company owns this company and this company was acquired by that company. That's almost a product on its own. And we really think that there's a lot of value to getting that right. Somebody might beat us to it though. Who knows?
Absolutely. In fact, that's a bunch of, that's something we've also tried to tackle ourselves, so we can, compare notes later.
Yeah.
I had another question, which is, let's talk about smaller organizations and talk about the whole notion of SMBs with franchise operations. So the franchise owners may or may not be part of the corporate entity.
Mm,
Have you guys seen any situations like that? Any of your clients have worked with, I'm talking restaurant brands with many
sure.
franchise
Yeah.
operations, somebody who's not part of the brand?
Yeah. So we do have one client that sells nationally to
Hmm.
hotels, but they also track holding groups below that.
Hmm.
So that's
Got
kind
it.
of the workaround for it, where we don't necessarily have a map of this is every hotel and who owns it, but
Yeah,
we can track, the national brand as well as these smaller holding companies, which you
got
can
it.
get some signals on those smaller holding companies, not as many as the national brand, but you start to
Yeah.
interplay that data together and get some good stuff out of it. But that's also, I would say, another thing that some specialist could come in and really probably make not a huge TAM there, but if you nail that, you can
Yeah,
nail that map between the
got it.
franchisees and the owner. That's really interesting too.
Got it. So let's just do the wrap up here. So, what's your advice or guidance for companies who are getting started with this whole transformation of go to
Mhm.
market around AI tools, AI tech, newer kinds of tools like ours, your signal based tech, signal based data? I mean, they're confused. So,
They are,
how
yeah.
should they get started? What do you think?
Man, I would say don't forget about revenue is the biggest thing. You're gonna get a lot like, the whole point of you doing this is not to flex that you're investing in AI, but it's to increase your revenue. So,
Sure.
you have to evaluate these tools on their merits, and there's a lot of them out there.
Mhm.
And in all honesty, some of them cluster together in terms of similar functionality, but some of them are very different than other ones. So you really need to look at each tool that comes to you, or even better yet, proactively define what problem you want to solve and then
Mhm.
start to look for companies to solve that problem.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. So I'm going to put up, Noah, the kind of our contact information. How can
Absolutely.
people get in touch with you?
You
Let's
can
talk
they
about
can
that.
shoot me an email. They can connect with me on LinkedIn, direct message me there, or they can shoot me an email, or they can shoot it's Noah at getbirddog.ai. You can also shoot our main email, hello at getbirddog.ai. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn, and you can go straight to our website too, getbirddog.ai.
Yeah. All right, so that's it, folks. That concludes episode 22 of AI GTM Talks. Thanks for a great conversation, Noah.
Yeah, thanks for
Enjoyed
having
it.
me.
All
Cool.
right, absolutely. Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye.